People still think that Africa is a very poor continent, and it is lagging behind the rest of the world, but it's catching up fast. And when it does, it is going to be an economic juggernaut, and Cardano is going to be right there building the infrastructure that $20 trillion continent is going to be using, and all of that is going to flow right back into Cardano's market cap.
All right, welcome back everybody to Altcoin Daily. My name's Austin, here with technical analyst, cryptocurrency enthusiast, and all-around good dude, Crypto Jebb. Thanks for joining.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, Austin. I'm looking forward to being here. We got a lot of great stuff to talk about today, don't we?
Yes, absolutely. And for the audience, we've done multiple shows together over the years, different people's shows. For my audience that may be just getting to know you, though, what is your background? Yeah. What is your area of expertise?
Yeah, so I grew up in a single parent household. I grew up, not doing very well, and I really wanted to help take care of my dad and my family and my community and everything. And I was trying to figure out, how do I get myself out of this situation? Do I go to school? Do I study? Do I go into business? And I found crypto in 2017. So I got into crypto, started a YouTube channel about 6 months later. In the last 4.5 years, I've been doing technical analysis on mainly the Bitcoin markets, but also the several other altcoin markets pretty much every single day since. And it's been a wild ride. Met a lot of really cool people such as yourself, Austin.
And one thing I really like about your channel is it's super reasonable, well thought out, backed up analysis. My take from watching you. So that's what I want to bring to my audience. I want you to share this today. And
same to you, my friend. Same to you. You are the go-to for news and everything altcoins and crypto yeah.
Appreciate it. Let's jump right in.
Let's do it.
Into 2022. Happy New Year, by the way.
Happy New Year. Heck yeah.
We did it. In 2022, are you bullish or are you bearish? Just give it to me straight.
I'm bullish. I got to be honest with you, Austin. I'm bullish. I think Bitcoin's going to hit 6 figures in the next 6 months, and I do think that we are going to see a blow off top this year. But if the market if the market continues to grow in the way that it's been growing in the last 6 months, where it's kind of growing very stable and we're not seeing massive explosive rallies like we saw January of this year and like we saw in December of last year, and we continue to grow stably, then we might not see a blow off top. We might not see a big bear market. That might be pushed off into the future. I think as the traditional stock market continues to grow, it is going to keep the attention of the retail investor. But as the Federal Reserve hopefully starts to pull back on bond buying and quantitative easing and everything, that may slow down the stock market. Same thing if we raise interest rates, we may do the same thing there. That might put the brakes a little bit on the stock market, and I could see trillions of dollars flowing into crypto from that. So I think it's going to be a very bullish year for the crypto markets at large.
Interesting. And I want to specifically in this conversation focus on Ethereum and maybe Cardano at the end, but give me some more reasoning because a lot of people are calling for a bear market in 2022. How do you back that up? Bitcoin bullish.
Yeah, and so to be clear, I'm not saying that a bear market won't happen next year. I think there's actually a pretty decent chance that one could happen in the second part of next year. My main point is that when you think of the year 2022, 5 years from now, I think you're going to think more of the bullish side of the year rather than the bearish side of the year. For example, 2017 was the all-time high for Bitcoin. We hit $20,000, and of course, we actually dropped before the year was over in the next 14 days down to, I want to say, about $12,000. So there was a 40% drop there in the span of a week. But when you think of 2017, you think of the bullishness, because obviously we all hopefully are able to look back on history affectionately, and you can't always, but I think we're going to see a lot of bullishness in the first half of the year. And I could see a bear market, but I've said many times, and we've even talked about this on other shows, that I personally don't think we're ever going to see an 85% bear market again like we saw the last 2 times that Bitcoin went through a bear market. I also think something that Heidi said yesterday on a Naomi's show, that I think 2022 is going to be the year where we find out if the 4-year cycle is going to continue based on the halvings. I think we're going to find out if we're going to start really seeing these lengthening cycles like a lot of people are saying they're going to. I think 2022 is going to be a year where you're going to see more institutions adopting and moving into Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies than perhaps we ever have before. And I also think it's going to be the year where if we don't hit the inflection point on the S-curve of adoption, we get really close and we're set up in the next couple of years to go absolutely parabolic. And like I've said before, I do think we're going to see $1 million Bitcoin in the next 10 years. And I think when you look back on it 15 years from now, you're going to say 2021, 2022, those were the years where things really started moving. So that's why I'm excited.
To me, at this point, I think Bitcoin is sort of undeniable in terms of what it's going for, store value, a hedge against inflation. You know, we've seen adoption from nation states as well as publicly traded companies. to me, undeniable. In your opinion, Ethereum into 2022, are we undervalued or are we overvalued right now?
Well, right now, we're undervalued compared to where it'll be. Look, the way that Ethereum performs in 2022 will have everything to do with one thing, ETH 2.0, because it's got a lot of competitors biting on its heels right now. And if Ethereum 2.0 doesn't come out, move us to proof of stake, lower the gas fees, and increase the throughput and scalability of the network, then you're going to see protocols like Binance's Smart Chain. You're going to see things like AVAX. You're going to see things like Solana and even Cardano, which we'll talk about in a second, really starting to take market dominance and market share away from Ethereum. But if Ethereum does have a successful launch of ETH 2.0, which we're hoping is in a few months, then that is going to allow Ethereum to really maintain the competitive advantage. And by the way, I hope it does, because Ethereum is one of the most decentralized, highly adopted decentralized application platforms that we have in cryptocurrency. If you are looking to build a dApp, you would hopefully maintain the same ethos that the cypherpunks that built this space had, that decentralization is the entire reason that this entire industry exists, because if not for decentralization, why even build a cryptocurrency? Centralized networks typically are much faster and have much more throughput than decentralized networks that require consensus. So if Ethereum 2.0 does come out and it does launch successfully, and there's obviously going to be hiccups, then I could very easily see Ethereum going well over $10,000. I could even see Ethereum going to $15,000 next year. That being keeping in mind that Bitcoin could easily go to $200,000 or $250,000. If both of those things happen, they'd maintain similar 40% Bitcoin dominance, 20% Ethereum dominance. And if Ethereum 2.0 comes out, that's what I see happening. If Ethereum 2.0 doesn't come out, I still don't see a flippening, but I do think that we're going to see Ethereum start to lose some of its market cap to its competitors.
Wow. A potential $15,000 Ethereum. Insane.
Yep.
Insane.
Yeah, $1 trillion market cap.
Now, $2 trillion. You kind of touched on this, but if people that call Ethereum, the MySpace of the dApp platform world, like, what do you say to those people that it's going to be overtaken by a Cardano or a Solana?
I say they have a good point. But the thing is, let me put it this way. 150 years ago, the way that you traveled across the continent was on a railroad, right? Everybody took passenger trains. Nobody in America, anyway, you and I both live in the United States, uses rail for transportation anymore. We use cars. Now, Europe and Asia, they're very heavily invested in passenger locomotion. But in America, trains got replaced in the passenger area by cars and planes, right? But what they did do is trains found another niche. They went from being predominantly for freight and for passengers to now they're predominantly for freight. So what I think you may see happen with Ethereum is you may see Ethereum get passed up for decentralized applications that need to be able to process thousands and thousands of minute transactions per second. But because of the robustness of Ethereum and its first mover advantage to the cryptocurrency market, I don't think it's ever going to fall out of favor, although it may get overtaken in certain niches that it is currently dominating in, if that makes sense. There are many different places that Ethereum is very successful in: NFTs, DEXs, even some, major different projects on Ethereum are built there. It may end up becoming specialized in the same way that IBM at one point was trying to compete for the personal computing market and realized, okay, we're not going to win there, but it didn't go out of business. It just pivoted. I think Ethereum, worst case scenario, may end up doing something similar.
I agree with you. And my take on this has always been that Ethereum has proven itself as of now for dApp platforms as the most decentralized, the most censorship resistant. So when big money, or money in general, wants a chain they can trust to do those things that they can trust the most, they go for Ethereum. But if you need tons of throughput, like crypto gaming, for example, that would go in the Polygons, or a chain that you can have those trade-offs.
Exactly.
Do you hold Cardano, or are you pure Ethereum?
I do. No, I hold Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Cardano. I actually have been talking about Cardano for the last year, and I finally got some exposure to it. I started studying it a lot when it was running up to $3. I'm like, well, I'm not going to buy the top. And luckily, my average entry right now is around $1.32, something like that. So I'm about break even, but I'm getting set up for the next few years.
Does Cardano get the respect it deserves in the crypto community? And let me add on to that by saying it seems like that the VCs are pumping Solana and Avalanche and all these things heavily, rightfully so. Those are great chains as well. But Cardano, it has a huge grassroots, the people's coin community, it seems to me. Does it get the respect that it deserves?
Cardano is a populist coin, and those coins typically have a hard time gaining power, but they end up becoming very popular. The reason that the Solanas and Binance coins of the world are popular with VCs is because they're easier to control because they're more centralized. Binance coin is the biggest example of that. If you remove the name Binance coin from Binance coin, then it's just another cryptocurrency protocol. I'm not saying the smart chain isn't an incredible innovation that's being used heavily. I'm not saying that, but I am saying if Binance went bankrupt tomorrow, it would probably lose 70% of its market capitalization because the brand is what's driving its $87 billion market cap. Solana has had many different allegations against it of centralization, the way that the coins were originally distributed. People aren't the biggest fan of that. As far as Cardano is concerned, though, the reason that I agree that I don't think Cardano gets the credit it deserves is because Cardano does something differently than what the majority of these other cryptocurrencies do. Most cryptocurrencies got to a $5, $10, $25 billion market capitalization off of marketing. Cardano got to its $9.5 billion market capitalization off of product. Every entrepreneur who has ever built a company that is worth anything knows that if you build it, they will come is false. But if you provide value and they receive that value, they will come. And that's what Cardano is doing. They are providing value. They're providing value to the continent of Africa. They're providing value by building one of the most scientifically rigorous decentralized application distributed networks that we've ever seen. And they're taking their time to build the product right before launching it in more or less an alpha state like most cryptocurrencies are. And by the way, a lot of people say, oh yeah, Solana's way ahead of Cardano. Is it? It's not that much farther ahead of Cardano. We're talking maybe 12 months ahead. Cardano, I don't think gets the credit that it deserves. I do think that Cardano is going to do exceptionally well. That's why I hold a good amount of it. And I think once its decentralized application ecosystem gets built out the same way Solana's and Ethereum's are, it's going to lead to a $10 plus Cardano. I don't mean to come and just make a bunch of predictions here, but I honestly do think that's where that's coming. And I can say that with no shame of thinking like, oh, I'm being a moon boy. No, I really do believe that Cardano will be worth $250 billion one day. And it might not take that long.
And is that projection more of the technical analyst in you or a long-term investor like?
It's actually, so it's the technical analyst in me, but it's also the entrepreneur in me. So the company that we run that supports our YouTube channel is, we have 12 W-2 staff and a bunch of contractors that work with us. So I run a business as well as running the YouTube channel. I run the business that runs the YouTube channel. So I know a little bit about entrepreneurship. It's my second passion that people don't hear that much about. So I'm saying that for Cardano from two perspectives. One from the, not even so much technical analysis, but the fundamental analysis side, and also from the entrepreneurial side, because Charles Hoskinson is one of the few leaders in this space that understands that you have to provide value to the market and then market that value rather than marketing a promise of value and then trying to build that value. Charles Hoskinson realizes that, and when he says, I don't care about price, that's exactly what he means. He wants to build value and he knows it will come. By the way, everything that Cardano is doing on the continent of Africa with decentralized identification, trying to help with, I'm blanking on the name of the company, but there's a company that they're using, working with to try and bring internet to the entire continent. The work that they're doing there in 30 years is going to pay off in dividends because it's not going to be that many decades from now when Africa is not only the most populous continent on the planet, but also probably the most economically productive continent on the planet. People still think that Africa is a very poor continent and it is lagging behind the rest of the world, but it's catching up fast. And when it does, it is going to be an economic juggernaut, and Cardano is going to be right there building the infrastructure that $20 trillion continent is going to be using, and all of that is going to flow right back into Cardano's market cap.
Before we tee it off to the final question, I want to leave it up to the audience, you at home. Do you like Bitcoin? Do you like Ethereum? Do you like Cardano? Yes, you can like them all, but what's your sort of breakdown as we're in 2022? Give me your thoughts down below in the comment section. Crypto Jebb, give me a hot take for 2022. And I did see a tweet you put out on New Year's Eve that you think a gaming cryptocurrency, I believe, will enter the top 10 in 2022. Expand on that hot take.
I did say that, and I firmly believe, so I've said before that I think NFTs are going to be a $10 trillion market because they fractionalize digital scarcity in a way that's never been done before in a decentralized way in the history of humanity. And blockchain gaming is probably going to be a $2 or $3 trillion industry within the next 10 years. And the reason is everybody plays video games nowadays. Everyone. And why not play a video game where you can have fun and make money doing it? You know how many people want to play video games for a living and their only two options are to go into esports or become a YouTuber? And it is incredibly difficult to do either one. It's not a reliable career path. It's really not. Like a lot of people say, oh, I'm going to be a YouTuber when I grow up. I said that and I got lucky by the grace of God. But It's not that easy. You know what is significantly easier? Playing a pay-to-earn cryptocurrency game that is able to pay your bills. I mean, there are people out there that they don't want a fancy life. They just want to sit there and play video games, and there's nothing wrong with that. And you're going to be able to do that with blockchain gaming. I think that blockchain gaming is going to be to 2022 what NFTs were to 2021. NFTs came out of nowhere and surprised everybody. Back 12 months ago, nobody thought that NFTs were going to be doing $2 billion in monthly volume like they are right now. I don't think people realize just how big the blockchain gaming ecosystem is going to be. And the two contenders for that top 10 position that I would look at would be Axie Infinity and Gala. I think both of them have the ability to jump all the way up there. I think they have a big enough value proposition. And look, there might also be another blockchain gaming platform that I don't know of that maybe hasn't even launched yet. But I do think that we're going to see a $50 billion plus blockchain gaming project within the next 12 months because of the speed at which these different projects are built. It happens so quickly. NFTs went from nothing a year ago to being every single celebrity has a line of NFTs now. And I think games are going to do the exact same thing. And by the way, when AAA game companies like Ubisoft and a bunch of others like EA get on board, game over. No pun intended.
I feel like Gala was the hot take and all that because Axie is obviously killing it now. Gala is I would consider it in the top 10 gaming cryptocurrencies now, if not top 5. But to get in the top 10 for all crypto, that's saying something. And Gala does have a shot. I got to play some of their games at Decentral Miami, the NFT conference. Seemed fun. And on the yes/no scale, it was a yes to me. But anyway,
there you go.
Have you played any of the games?
I haven't. I actually cut video games out of my life like 4 months ago, right when blockchain games was getting popular, because I've got probably 20,000 hours in video games in my life, and there's only 8,760 hours in a year. So that's kind of a lot. I cut it out so that I could, focus on the business here, but bad timing, I guess. I would love to play them, but for my own mental health, I'm not going to.
No, you only have so much time in the day.
Exactly.
But speaking of that, the links for Crypto Jebb are down below in the video description. Go subscribe, hit the like button, check them out. But final thoughts, Crypto Jebb, for the Altcoin Daily audience.
I think that if you haven't already subscribed to the Altcoin Daily channel, then you absolutely should. And if you haven't already followed them, then you absolutely should. Because if you want to know what's going on in the fundamentals of the cryptocurrency market, I don't know of a better channel where you're going to find it. So make sure you follow them, subscribe to them, and, leave a nice comment down below telling them how appreciative you are of all the content that they put out. And by the way, Austin, and this goes to your brother also, congratulations on the major growth. You guys have you have like 200,000 subscribers at the beginning of 2021. Now you're at
300,000.
You had 300,000. Okay. Well, you only tripled your following on YouTube. Congratulations, man. I'm so happy for you. And I'm really looking forward to what you and your brother are going to do moving into the new year.
Appreciate that, man. And I think that speaks to, in part, the need, the want for information as this thing goes mainstream super fast. So that's why I like to bring on other very reasonable, well thought out cryptocurrency channels to help share the perspective. So thank you. Links down below. Great 2022.